Welcome back, everybody.
Hello.
Hey.
So, after a very long break, is everyone ready to get this next clusterfuck of a mission done?
Sure.
Need more power to the engines, Captain.
First off, I don't know how Saskinar suddenly has engineering knowledge, but considering she's like a fucking marksman, why not?
She's a dentist of the highest caliber.
God damn it.
I did that off screen. I made that joke off screen so you didn't have to. My sacrifice is now invalidated.
Hey, Frank. Whenever you make that joke, just realize that you're one of the players in all of the Man Shorts comedy sketches.
That's
I
right.
know.
Hmm?
I know.
I'm about to have rocks fall and everybody dies.
Except Jay, because I am evasion.
Bring it on. I have an umbrella.
I only suffer a half death.
And Nar, who will somehow shoot her way out of the falling rocks.
I vaporized all of them. Okay, so when we last had a session,
Have those rocks fall. I have a family member who can swing by, swoop in the nick of time, and transport me out.
oh, you mean Q?
No, I have a family member owes me a favor. And I still have my Spider-Man. Everybody gets one.
Anyway, so when we last left off, we were doing counseling sessions. I will say over the course of the week, you have each seen Counselor Zoda at least one more time.
So more interrogations? Got it.
You call them interrogations, she calls them getting to know you sessions.
I mean, obviously, Nar would call it whatever she calls it, but in her head, it's still interrogation.
Just be glad she's not Betazoid.
Right?
Engage the mind meld for proper psychological treatment.
She's not a Betazoid like the XO is.
Right.
Okay, there was also like I don't think it was a party. There was something that happened that was supposed to be like scheduled the next week. Was it just a party or what was it?
Oh yeah, wasn't it like the officers?
It's like a meet and greet mixer thingy.
That's right. It was the welcome party to all of the officer exchange program people. Lots of fun. You met lots of new. Well, I don't. How did you guys mingle during this party?
Of course I mingle. I'm Shay.
Well, I already know Moral has to because she's the CO. She has to meet all of them. Darby, we can't
I
hear you.
mean,
I can still hear muttering from your room, but I can't hear you.
Okay, how about now?
There we go.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I would say, I would say, she mingled quite a bit.
there was a conservative amount of mingling, but mingling did happen because that was the point of the.
She mingles like a cat with a trustful amount of aloof disingenuous.
And Frank, you met all of the new Officer Exchange Program people.
Oh, joy. I mean, yay.
Well, you've got um, Sobaton, the Helm Officer, and I think there's like 20 some odd exchange officers on the ship. There's even that's right, there was a Ferengi. I think I put him in Hartley's security detail.
Yep.
Okay, so like I said, it's been a week since the counseling sessions or the initial one, and you are heading deeper into the Sabine Expanse. Uh, over the past several days, there have been a few. I'll say within the past few days, you guys came across a rogue planetoid, and then uh, sorry, just trying to think. Um, so after exploring the rogue planetoid, uh, you are currently heading towards the next system at a very uh, low speed. You haven't gone to warp. What is everybody doing?
Probably working on those files.
Gonna show that bitch up, aren't you?
Yep.
Trying really hard not to say she goes to the holodeck.
Yes, going to the holodeck would be bad.
Yeah, it would go against what told the counselor what she was going to do. I'm gonna say she goes. I'm gonna say she had the urge to go to the holodeck, but went for a run around. Did the a run around the ship for exercise to distract the mind.
Okay. Frank, you and Che. Well, Josh, you want Che to be doing something?
Um, no, I think I'm okay actually. I was trying to think of something that he'd be doing, but I think he's okay.
Okay, so Moral and Che are on the bridge. It seems to be fairly quiet. Um, Josh, go ahead and give me a uh, control and science roll,
Okay.
please.
Am I using a computer in this?
Yes, you are.
Does computer expertise apply?
Let me check. It does not.
Okay, 2 dice then. Yay, 2 success.
Motherfucker.
Jeez, don't be so disappointed by his success.
Wait, why the fire over the trash can?
I moved the trash can, so I needed to redraw the fire.
But there was like a red outline of me, and I was doing good. So I thought I did good enough to get rid of the fire.
I think that the red outline was just a badly drawn.
It was badly drawn flame because Matt tried to do it.
He gave Darby hope without intending to give him hope.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Darby, I think that you know in your heart that you're a dumpster fire.
There's going to be a session where the dice don't screw me over royally.
Okay, so while you're sitting at your science console, there is the sensors are alerting you to the presence of a ship.
The presence of shit?
A ship.
Presidents.
Oh, okay.
Captain Morale, we have a ship on scanners. Attempting to identify. I attempt to identify the ship. Same dice.
No, if you want to, you can use the extra success that you had. to ask if the computer can identify it.
Yes, I do this.
It cannot. But the ship is also approaching the Tempest at a little over warp 1.
Blow it up.
And thus a war crime was started. Morale, did you just accidentally a war?
No, that was sarcasm.
So yes, Che relays this. I can't get a lock on its make or structure, Anarch logs, but it is approaching us at warp 1.
On screen,
I moves the button.
Okay, so the screen switches from the space background to the image of this ship approaching at warp 1. It's a small ship.
magnify, please.
When you magnify, you do not recognize any of the markings on the ship. But it is heading on an intercept course for you.
Open hailing frequencies.
Okay, Lomax will do that. Okay, so Lomax responds that they're not responding to hails.
Ray shields, bring phasers and torpedoes online.
Josh, give me another control and science roll, please.
Oof.
Okay, as it gets closer, you and you've thoroughly scanned the ship. You notice why they're not responding to hails.
Oh.
They don't have a subspace relay.
Captain, I believe they have the ability to respond to hails. They seem to have not developed the subspace rate. So, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Say that again, you were kind of fading out.
I was?
Yes.
I basically just repeated what Jimmy said in Che in character speak. I I think I was about to ask the question for the non-Star Trek guy. Do they have a backup system, like a more conventional means of communication for these sorts of situations?
Um, it looks as if they're still using radio waves.
It seems they're using radio waves, conventional radio waves, for communication.
Wait a minute. They can travel warp 1 and not have a subspace antenna? And using conventional radio waves? What kind of backward ship is that?
For all we know, it's their first warp capable.
Scan scan radio frequencies to see if they've been transmitting anything.
Lomax reports that they are sending a message or broadcasting a message.
What are they saying?
Lomax patches it through, and you hear, "Greetings, alien vessel."
All right, Mr. Lomax, respond in kind. Greetings. What are your intentions?
Uh, he sends a message. You get a response of, uh, "You're the first alien species we've ever come across."
Stand down, red alert. Keep everything at the ready. And let's get prepared for first contact. Mr. Lomax, and the following reply. Where do you hail from? We are the USS Tempest from Starfleet. We hail from Earth.
Okay, to be fair, only one of the senior staff comes from Earth.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the ship. We'll get all the pleasantries out of the way.
Um, you get a response back of uh, we don't have a name for our planet, but my name is Malek.
Wow, this sounds a lot like a trap.
On behalf of the Faralarr species, it is nice to meet you. Josh, I'm going to need a
Wait a minute, what did he call his species?
Faralarr. Roll your reason and uh, security.
Dang, I'm not rolling too hot tonight.
Okay. There's something at the back of your mind uh, that when they mention their species name, you kind of take notice. You're not entirely sure why it sounds familiar.
Hmm. I keep this to myself for the moment.
Uh, the Faralar ship contacts you back and then says that if you would like to, you could follow them to their homeworld. He's sure that one of the ministers would like to see you. Well, to meet you.
Turn to the XO and ask him what he's getting, if anything.
He lets you know that they're being genuine. They are rather surprised to see a ship our size. I would recommend that we tractor their shuttle or tractor their ship and have them beam aboard.
Okay. Mr. Lomax, relay that message to them and see if they're in agreement with that.
You hear a response of, "We're not entirely sure what you're saying, tractor. And what is beaming?
I explained it to him. It's relocating an item from one place to another without physically moving it.
Okay. He lets you know that he and his associate will wait for this beaming.
Okay. Lieutenant Che, take a security officer with you, go to transporter room 1 and greet our guests.
Aye, Captain.
Bring them to the conference room when you get them. Limit their exposure to the ship.
Aye, Captain.
So you and Darby head down to transporter room 1.
Yep.
No, Jim. Friend said a security officer.
Considering that she's
I
right there.
know. She's going to actually getting a character real quick. Then for my security officer, I pick Lieutenant Hurley if you would accompany.
Of course.
Okay. You get a little message up in the corner Telltale Games that Shay has shown faith in you.
Yay!
Another message. Don't blow it.
All right. So you and Hartley get down to the transporter room. You see the two officers standing on the transporter pad. They look kind of shocked. But the other thing you notice is they are a felinoid species.
Um, Felinoid?
They're like Che. They're cats.
Oh, okay.
Okay, after they've been beamed aboard and their ship isn't tractored into the hangar deck, I send an engineering crew to basically go over their ship with a fine-tooth comb to check it out, make sure there's nothing, hinky.
Okay. So Jones is taking care of that. Che, what are you saying to the cat people?
Welcome aboard the USS Tempest. We're pleased to have you. If you follow me, we have a room arranged where we can speak more.
I was not aware that there was any more cat species other than us.
Shay gives a light chuckle. We are something of a rarity. If you follow me, please.
They 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 nod in agreement and they follow you.
Okay, I take them to wherever you're directed.
So what are you gonna do, Frank?
Note into the ship's log that we've encountered a new species. Shoot off a message to Starfleet, letting them know about the first contact encounter. And then going to the conference room to meet these new visitors that we have. And then we're going to sit there and kill them and fry them on a stick and have,
Right.
Cat
no,
burgers.
that part's.
Cat burgers. Okay. So
No, we're not in some street market in some third world country where there are no cats. Or dogs, for that matter.
okay. So you go down to meet Malek and his companion. They are astonished with the surroundings.
Well, first I introduce myself to them. I greet them. I sit there and welcome on board the USS Tempest. I am Commander Moral, captain of this ship.
He introduces, Malek points himself out. You know, I'm researcher Malek. He gives the name of his traveling companion. I didn't name him, so fuck it.
His name is Zophie.
And he goes, and what species are you?
I'm half Klingon and half Nobulan.
Are there more?
There are more of both of my races that I am a mixture of.
And your homeworld is Earth.
The Tempest, the United Federation of Planets is where we're a part of, and we travel from Earth. But my homeworld is Nobulan.
I see. So this United Federation of Planets. How many planets are in this federation?
Out of character. How many are there? I don't know.
I think the last time I heard it was 180.
About 180.
There are that many species out there.
There's more than that. There are just right now inside the United Federation of Planets 180 species that have joined. There are many out there that, for whatever reasons they have, being what they may, religious or social, or they just don't want to, have decided not to join us. That does not prevent us from interacting with them or coming to their aid should they ask. And there are lots more species out there that we have not encountered. such as yours. This is our first time making contact with you, as far as I'm aware.
Um, he's kind of taken aback by this, and then said that he had known that his ancestors had crossed the stars, but he didn't realize there were more species out there.
His species would make what, the third cat species we know of?
Fourth.
The fourth?
Yeah, Cations, Farazan.
Okay. One person talking at a time. I can't handle both you and Jimmy talking at the same time.
You go ahead, Jimmy.
The Cations, the Farazan, the Lyrans, and now the Faralarr.
Well, I did not know your ancestors had traveled very far. Right now, you comprise a fourth component of the feline species of that I know of.
Fourth.
Yes. You've met Lieutenant Che. I'm sure if we did a comparison DNA check, you'd find that in some way you guys have some type of a genetic correlation to each other. Che, you're what? Lyran?
No, he's
Okay.
Cation.
Cation.
He's a Cation. There's also the Lyran and the Farazan.
Technically, sir, the Cations and Farazans are the same species. One's just genetically modified.
So, would you like something to drink?
I believe I would.
Since I don't know what it is you drink on your world, would water be acceptable?
Yes.
She walks over to the replicator, and then she gets ready to ask for water. At what temperature do you usually drink your water?
Um, 10 degrees Celsius.
Water, 10 degrees Celsius.
As soon as it appears in the replicator, Malek shoots back up. He just goes, "Do you have glasses of water just somewhere around your ship?" And it just beamed here.
No, this is one of the wonderful advances in our society that we have made. Much at the beginning of Earth's culture, water was gotten out of more archaic forms as time when Earth's culture made first contact with the Vulcans, another species, and and Starfleet progressed, and they became, as they progressed further, we have what we call replicators. I assure you, it's perfectly safe to drink. She brings it over to him. You'll find it's a perfect 10 degrees Celsius.
he takes the glass and he sniffs it before starting to drink. At this point, the traveling companion uh, gives you the coordinates for the homeworld. Although now that they know that there are alien species out there, he he guesses they should probably come up with a name for it.
Well, I would probably think you would call your homeworld probably after your own species. It would seem apt, unless your people have a more suitable name for it, your homeworld.
Probably not.
Well, for the time being, until we speak with your ruling council or elders, or I don't know what form of government you have.
Ministers.
How
Ministers.
ministers? How about we refer to your homeworld as your species, since that is where you live?
Very well.
So she tests her comm badge and lets Helm know to set a course, and then lets the XO know that the planet is going to be called this, and tells them to make a note into the ship's log, and until such time as they speak to the Council of Ministers, that is what the planet's being called.
Aye, sir. So, um, while you are all heading towards the the Faralarr system, what is everybody doing? Nar down in sickbay. Uh, the rumor mill has already stated that first contact has happened with a new warp capable species and their cats.
Uh-huh. Business as usual unless I'm called for.
Well, I asked them after they have a drink and they've calmed down a little bit, ask them if they'd like a tour of if they'd like to see a little bit more of the ship,
They would love to.
and take them on a tour of the ship. One of the stops is going to be sickbay.
Okay.
It also
Protocol.
follows along. Curious about these cat people.
It's protocol, and I keep Che around just in case, because I think they would feel a little bit more comfortable.
Um. So Malek is very focused on the ship. He seems completely fascinated by everything. The traveling companion keeps looking at Che.
Wink, wink.
I approach for conversation.
Okay.
Bob chicka
So-
meow.
No.
So I must.
Sorry, that was really good.
Mm-hmm. Emily, that's one sexy cackle.
Well, thank you.
Anyway, Josh, go ahead.
Yeah, Che basically just approaches as they're walking along. So I must admit, during all this, I don't think we've asked you. What What is your world like?
Lush jungle. There's a major settlement, and then like 4 outlier villages.
Lots of scratching toys, lots of balls to play with, mice to chase. There's some red dots floating around every once in a while, but other than that, it's just basic.
Our diet largely consists of insects.
Yeah. Oh.
That entirely depends on the size of the insect.
What's that?
Involved in that entirely depends on the size of the insect.
But he does say that Faralarr is very, very beautiful. He wants to know what your homeworld is like.
Ecologically diverse. High amounts of grass plains, most forests. It gets a little deserty towards the we have 3 oceans. And we've colonized, I believe at this point, 6 other worlds. I came from one of the first colony worlds.
Translation: we're a bunch of stuck-up farmers, and we sit there and tell people what to do, and we just sit there and be lazy.
Note to self: invite Meryl to Cache. Have her get ambushed in the tall grass.
Um, he says that sounds very interesting. He lets you know Faralarr has 10 oceans.
Jay tries to work out in his head how much landmass you'd have to have 10 oceans. That's a lot of land bridges. Yeah, that's a lot of land bridges.
He also mentions that there's only one landmass on the planet.
Oh. You're a Pangean world.
What is that?
You have one landmass, one large continent surrounded by ocean.
Oh. I would hate to see if the landmass broke up.
I imagine within geological scales, you don't have any fear. Plate tectonics tend to move very slow.
So you guys get down to sick bay.
Yep. I introduced them to Dr. Nar.
Hello. I'm Dr. Nar.
Hello, Dr. Nar. Why does she not wear the same uniform?
Dr. Nar is a Cardassian. She's an exchange officer from another world, and she is here to lend her expertise, and she's our ship's doctor.
We're
They're
attempting
very
to
good.
build goodwill between our peoples.
Well, I certainly hope that the Faralarr will be able to build a bridge with the Federation. And perhaps the Cardassians.
I'm certain you will.
That would be a good thing too.
Okay, are you going to go anywhere else with them, or did you want to talk with them in any way?
Well, at this point, I'm hoping Nara would sit there and do her medical thing, scan them, you know, so they kind of get to see our medical technology in work too. Plus, it wouldn't hurt if we had some medical scans. So when we report to the back to Starfleet, we have some information because they're going to ask, what information do you have about these people? Well, she's going to be one of them.
Okay. Um. So, Nar, did you want to scan them?
Certainly.
Give me a control and medicine roll, please. Okay, so you have scanned them. Any questions?
Adriana Trigiani's Barry Valentine. I don't know what we're looking for. So if it's just a basic, how are you? What's going on? What's your makeup? Then I don't know. I don't think I really have any specific questions.
Well, I ask you to bring up basically Lieutenant Che's DNA sequence so we can see how much of a correlation between their DNA and Che's DNA, how far apart they are, to see what kind of how distant a relation in species they are.
All right, I can certainly do that. What's it look like, Jimmy?
Out of character. Oh, looking at my basic building blocks, are we? How embarrassing.
Lewd.
Okay, so when comparing the two DNAs, there are some slight differences, but they have enough in common with the Caitians and the Farazans to be cousins.
The differences are minor, but there. It's quite likely they originated from a same ancestor at some point. Was there some kind of schism in the Acacian people?
Other than the
Josh, give me a
one
reason. Give me a control or a reason and security, please.
one success.
Okay, I'll give it to you this time. Um, just because there's so much stuff being discussed here. Uh, when Nar suggests the schism, now you know why your brain clicked on Faralarr.
Oh,
It was the name of the colony ship that left with the Farazans.
so Che is in mid-word. He's the only schism between my people was between the Caitians and the Farazans. The two castes coming apart. But in our history, the colony ship that the Farazans took off planet, our first attempts at warp-capable ships, that was named the Faralarr. It set the Cation people back thousands of years to lose that technology.
Hundreds of years.
Hundreds?
Yeah.
Hundreds. Chop a zero off that. Hundreds of years.
Interesting.
He's trying to protect him, I know.
That would
Yes,
certainly
very.
explain the similarities in your DNA structures.
Is there any sign in their genetics of potential tampering? Scientific or machine-based modification?
Is that something I can look for?
Yeah, you
I
can.
don't-
Okay. Yeah, sure. I'll have a look.
All right, give me a control in medicine.
Ooh.
God bless it.
I am the best doctor.
Okay, so uh, there are no markers for genetic manipulation, either technical or biological.
There does not appear to be any signs of modification.
Jay looks honestly kind of shocked.
The differences clearly have come over time.
At this point, Malek goes, "Wait, are you saying that he and I are from the same homeworld?"
Yes, indeed.
But that is a potential. That is a potential thing. It's certainly a coincidence, but would need to be investigated further. With your willingness, of course.
Oh, he wants to know exactly because he informs you that the texts that were passed down after his ancestors arrived on Faralarr was that their home was destroyed.
We would have to compare old records, potentially even contact the Firan embassy, but unfortunately the Federation and the Firans are not in good political terms right now. But when the Firalar left Kaish, it basically heralded the end of a very long-standing war between two castes, the war caste and the and the diplomatic caste, over ideological differences. For most of this, the Farazan caste wanted to improve themselves through genetic modification, and the Kaish caste did not approve of this. Considering the widespread fighting, it's potential that they could assume that the world was destroyed. or lost in some way.
Um, yeah, Malek seems fairly interested in all of this. Is there anything going to be happening else in the sick bay?
Nobody's got the flu or anything like that, so no need for medicine.
Oh, all of a sudden, Lister and Shay come down with that cold from the first episode.
Don't even joke.
Because, it mutated in Lister, and it went dormant in Shay until now.
Bum bum bum.
Except Shay was never infected.
Or so he thought.
Cats don't get the flu.
You-
No, it went from the flu in humans to the only thing I can think of right offhand is feline AIDS.
Feline distemper. Isn't that a respiratory illness infection?
I don't know.
Oh well, it's not important. We're just at tangenting at this point.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say it's gonna take 6 hours to get to Faralarr. What's everybody doing for the 6 hours?
Probably working on those files a little more. Unless I'm asked to socialize or do something else.
So Dathan walks up to you. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Alright, I'll be back though.
Shay
Remember
believes,
someone else.
Shay believes it's the best use of his time to, while off duty, continue talking with the Faralarr, gather all the information he can.
Okay. They're they're not entirely clear on history. It wasn't their best subject because they're warp engineers, or they're engineers.
Right.
Um, what he does know is that the uh, the main city was initially constructed by materials not from Faralarr, because they've never found anything like it in while mining the planet.
In Chay's head, he considers well that fits. If they repurpose the colony ship, as most colony ships are, into the first settlement, then yes, it would be made of a different. But he doesn't share this at the moment. But he's also Chay's very interested not just in their history, but also in their culture, their custom, comparing his and theirs to see what sort of similarities they have.
Um, well, they're not pacifistic, but they're not war hungry either. Uh, there, there, there was a good long while after the main city was initially built before any space travel was even thought about. Um, in that time, they grew accustomed to eating the bugs, and that is their main source of protein.
Come back.
Welcome back.
Okay.
They also have a few religious beliefs, but he doesn't want to get into that because he's not very spiritual.
Che is very understanding of this.
I'm trying to think of what else I wanted to have. Oh, there's about. He does let you know that that Faralarr has a population of about 500,000.
Che already assumed from the fact that they're only have 5 settlements on their world that it must be a very small world.
No, the he says the Faralarr is rather large, but it's mostly covered in water.
Ah,
But so yeah, he he goes into the details of the planet and just various stuff like that. The environment sounds pretty close to Kate as far as temperature.
okay.
Uh, but he's really interested in hearing about Kate and the colonies.
I should probably be noting like everything I say down just for future continuity, but I'll get to that a little later.
Well, I'm recording this, and I still need to send you those other 2 videos.
I know. Don't worry about it. We'll get to it. Well, as I said, we had uh, 6 colonies. The first was placed onto a heavily forested world, and that's where I was born. My family actually used to own a small homestead uh, on a section of untouched forest. It's become very metropolitan. Many cities. The second colony was on a fairly arid world. Um, my species comes in different strains, subspecies, and some were more comfortable on desert, more arid regions. So that provoked a small migrationary wave. I've actually never seen that world outside of pictures. Uh, our third colony is a fairly regular, or sorry, I was on the fourth. Fourth colony is a fairly regular Gaia world, very Earth-like. Fourth was actually established as, or the fifth was established as a scientific outpost on a Arctic world, and the sixth was also placed on a cosmopolitan Gaia world. so far I've only seen the home world, my colony, and a brief stint for harsh weather training on the Arctic world. Only about 2 months, I believe.
That sounds very interesting. I would very much like to see these colonies.
Perhaps one day you will.
Okay, so I'm going to fast forward the 6 hours. You guys arrive at Faralarr. Uh, as I said, the planet is mostly water. Uh, there's okay. It's the landmass is separated into two areas, and it's joined by a bridge of islands. So it technically counts as one landmass. Or no, I guess that would be two. Oh, hey, tired brain. Okay, no, let's go back and just say there were two landmasses.
Okay.
Uh, you find the main settlement on the lower landmass. The two landmasses, one's about the size of Alaska and the other one's about the size of Texas, and on the rest of the planet is water. Um, Frank, you've you've arrived at the planet. What do you want to, what are you gonna do?
Let Malik contact his people.
Okay.
And this way he can prepare them for us beaming down. We'll let him take his ship to go back to the planet and wait for their signal to say it's okay to beam down and beam to an area where, you know, the whole populace won't see us. Beam down, just, you know.
So you're gonna beam to the minister's chamber.
Probably, if that's what they want, then yes.
Okay. So Malek wants to know, Che, if you want to go down with him on his ship.
Shay glances at Captain Morale to kind of gauge the situation. Specifically on if the captain thinks this is a decent idea.
She interjects with, maybe we should wait until you've at least informed your ministers and prepared them for our eventual arrival. Sometimes not everybody's welcomed us with warm hearts and open minds.
Malek understands, and he and his companion take the ship down. I'll say a couple of hours pass, and then they send you the signal that everything is okay. You're going to be speaking with Minister Kosen.
While we were waiting to hear back from them, we decided to take detailed scans of the planet, pick topography and everything and what we could, so that way we have it for the file.
Okay. So who's going to be in your away team?
Me, Che, the doctor, and a burning trash can.
So the players, yay!
I didn't see that coming.
One of these times, Frank is just gonna like throw us for a loop and just be like, "I'm taking myself and all the NPCs. I'll take Lister and I'll take Zoda. We'll also take Ben Lomax and Anna Rick and Thomas Skyler
and Sobaton.
And a
So-
dental kit. And a dental kit.
Yes. Wait. No. Shame. We just all end up playing all of the NPCs that are normally on the bridge.
Okay, so the away team beams down. When you materialize in the minister's chamber, you can see the minister, much like Malek, stands up in shock, and you can see Malek going, "No, no, no, minister, this is what happens." And he looks at you and says, "Greetings, Commander Moral."
Greetings, Minister. I'm Commander Moral from the USS Tempest from the United Federation of Planets. Thank you for welcoming us to your homeworld.
Well, it's not like we had much of a choice, did we? Malek was eager.
Actually, you did have a choice. If you did not want us here, all you had to say was no, and we would not beam down. It is part of our founding principle in the United Federation of Planets. If you do not want us here and do not want to initiate first contact any further, we will abide by that rule.
Um, he waves his hand and says, "No, no, no. Um, it, they trying to figure out what to say. There wasn't much of a choice because Molek brought you back here."
Well, we kind of offered him a lift, and he saw our ship, and We wanted to know about his world, and we shared information about our world.
The minister looks at you, Che, and goes, and who are you?
I am Junior Lieutenant Che, Chief Science Officer aboard the USS Tempest.
Where are you from?
I am a Cation from the first colony world of Kaish.
Um,
Out of character. No, Che replies, I'm from this world, 300 years in the future.
no, Josh.
I'm your great great grandson.
I'm here to right serious wrongs in this timeline. No, that's a good way to get confined to the ship.
Yeah.
um, everyone present, so everybody, go ahead and give me insight and security roll, please. Or insight and command.
No catnip for Che. Wait a minute, insight and what?
Command. Darby. Oh, you already rolled. Never mind. Okay, so Frank, when you notice that there is a slight reaction in the minister when Che mentioned Kate. And he says, "Well, let me be the first to extend a greeting to all of you. If you would like, you can take a look around the city. Be careful if you venture out into the forest. But I have important matters that I need to handle with the rest of the ministers." At which point he grabs Molek and the other pilot, and they all three of them leave the room.
Che's eyebrows raised.
That seemed rather abrupt.
That's the first time I've seen a politician leave the room before guests.
The hairs on my neck stand up, and I just turn to Che and everybody, and it's like, I don't like what's going on. Is it just me, or does something seem out of place?
I didn't think anything seemed out of place, just that was fairly abrupt.
Yes, I believe it's standard protocol, just for security reasons, for most politicians to have visitors escorted from the room before they leave. Hartley, isn't that standard protocol?
It is.
You're talking about Starfleet protocol, of course. They haven't had any contact with Starfleet or even your homeworld in a very long time.
True, but one would think universally, even in most cultures, that the guests would leave first, or at least be escorted out. We are strangers to their city. Something feels off about this.
It's entirely possible that we are all currently being watched. There could be cameras everywhere. They may feel completely safe leaving us here.
I suppose that's also possible, but we probably shouldn't occupy these quarters any further. One way or another.
I suggest if we do want to explore the city that we stay as a group.
To be quite honest, Doctor, being Cardassian, not trying to sound offensive, but if you had guests that you just made first contact with, would you leave them alone in a room like this just to explore your city?
Only if they were being watched.
Exactly. But still, if this was my first contact and this was my world, I wouldn't let strangers walk around, even if they were being watched unattended. You just never know.
Hey, Jimmy, can I make a check? I'm gonna look around the room and see if there's anything that I'm just taking a brief look. I'm gonna see if there's anything that would I could recognize as a possible camera or listening device.
Give me an insight and security check.
Two successes.
The flower on the table. Flower on the table looks suspicious.
There are 4 devices that you could tell that are monitoring you.
I look at the captain and I say in a low voice, and I kind of gesture in their direction, but I look at the captain and I say, sir, I believe we have 4 devices that more than likely is monitoring us right now.
Really, Lieutenant? Like we just haven't all, like the 3 of us just haven't already said that. Of course they're listening to us. There's probably hidden cameras too watching us. Besides, those microphones aren't well hidden. A Ferengi could spot them.
I was just confirming our theory, sir.
Okay. So what are you guys doing?
Well, since they said we can venture out venture out the city, and I'm not sure they're going to have microphones everywhere. We get outside, and bas- basically, since it is standard procedure, even on first contact, to have a phaser, you know, I just give the silent signal to be ready for anything. Cause I ain't take, and this is just her hair is just like bristling. She's just on edge.
Okay. What are you doing, Annie Oakley?
Act natural. This is not unexpected.
Do
So
do do do. I hate days.
Yeah.
Do 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 do.
Yes, exactly. No. So I would be spending too much time thinking about him. You know, we're gonna go check out the city, right? Following along. Being monitored is nothing new.
That is true. You did serve in the Cardassian Union military before they joined the Dominion.
Mm-hmm.
Although naturally, you don't think that they can keep as good records as the Cardassians do.
Of course not.
Okay. Uh, so you so you're gonna go explore the city?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're gonna stay together as a group, not taking chances. But you know, all these people are unprepared for seeing new faces. So yeah, let's see what happens. We're not venturing too far.
Che
No.
Che has his tricorder out because he has a curious. Malek mentioned that structures within their main city, this capital, were made of a metal they couldn't identify.
That
She's gonna
wasn't
try
found
and
on the planet.
wasn't found on the planet. Shay is going to attempt some traces and readings of that metal.
Okay. So, go ahead and give me a control and science roll, please.
To a success.
Um, so while most of the buildings now have been built out of resources that have been found on the planet, the 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 ministry building it still has a large portion of metal that you can't locate anywhere else.
I take a scan of this and then gently tap my combat.
Okay.
Hang on, I have to remember her name. Ensign Fulmer?
This is Ensign Fulmer. Go ahead, sir.
I need your geological expertise. I'm going to be sending you a scan of some metal. Could you run it through the database and see what comes up?
Aye, sir.
Thank you much. Che out. And yeah, I send him the scan.
So as you are leaving the ministry building, you notice that the people outside are kind of giving you a very wide berth.
That's to be expected.
However, Che, you do notice that they are looking at you.
As opposed to the other people? Or looking at me because I'm the only thing familiar.
Yeah, they're looking at you with curiosity. What is everybody else doing? Emily?
Having a look at things. If they got, street vendors or whatever, like scan their food articles, mostly out of curiosity, but also to see what might be safe in case we're here long enough.
The everything that they sell are insect parts, and then there's like fruits and vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
There's a vegetable that's pretty toxic for Cardassians.
Good to know.
And if you were to eat any large amounts of food, be it insect or plant based, you might need to inject something uh, to counteract the effects because there's a higher percentage of nickel in the foodstuffs.
Okie dokie.
So so you guys don't end up becoming Smurfs.
Right. Tea fairly abundant on this planet, since the food seems to be full of it.
Possum providing wonderful market music or ambience or cat world.
Yeah, for a cat world. Okay, so Moral is looking at the vendor booths. There's also like tailors and some other stuff, but yeah.
She watches a few transactions take place. Stuff like their common forms of dress, fashion, and what do they use for exchange?
They still use money.
Paper or metal?
Metal.
Let me guess, is it made mostly of nickel?
Why, yes, it is.
Excellent.
I'm going to read between the lines here and assume that nickel Cardassians are allergic to nickel.
No. There was only like one vegetable that was toxic to Cardassians.
Okay.
Everything else, you just kind of need to take something to counteract the effects of nickel poisoning if you were to eat large quantities of the food.
It's a simple analgesic that we have to take. Good news! It's a
It's a
suppository.
suppository. I can't swallow that. Good news.
Who's ready for their hot coffee enema?
I have a 2-gallon pitcher of it in the refrigerator.
That's not hot though, Josh. That's cold coffee.
You can always microwave it.
Ew.
That's gross.
Your solution to everything cannot be to nuke it.
Works for chicken.
No, it does not.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, first off, fucker, you can't even go into the kitchen and cook anything other than ramen, so what the fuck are you talking about?
I've learned to make really good egg salad.
Bitch, you're not using my stove.
One day you'll trust me.
Silence, appetite suppressant.
And that's the day the apartment burned down.
No, Jimmy has a real, actual, legitimate reason why I'm not allowed to use the stove.
Yes, and it still stands. Even 13 years later.
That's a long time.
What, Josh?
Don't worry about it. It's okay.
Okay, and no, you're not going to be the Antichrist.
Goody! I am not the Catman Antichrist.
It's the second coming though. Oh no, sorry.
You're kidding, Jesus.
I will accept being Kitty Jesus.
Um,
No, you'll just be the cat version of the emissary.
you are a Faralarr.
Nice.
Okay, Darby, are you doing anything while they're kind of staring at Che more than anybody else?
I'm just staying. I'm relaxed, but still being cautious and a little alert, paying attention to what's going on. I am. There's probably a clothing vendor that I've taken a sight of and browsed a little bit just to see the type of clothing they wear and stuff like that.
Most of the Faralarr wear uh, lighter shades, so white, yellow, and it tends to be there's consider like active wear and then like town wear.
Oh, okay. So your basic work clothes and casual clothes for when you're not working.
Well, no, there's clothes specifically designed for hunting, and then there are clothes like everyday clothes.
Oh, okay. But my character is on alert, though. She's looking through things, paying attention to, like, looking through the wares and stuff like that, but still being caught alert to what's going on around her.
Che, you're actually on a home. You're actually on a world where they cater to your body type.
This is amazing. What did they use? Oh wait, no, I already asked what they use for money. Replicate me some nickel money. I'm buying some clothes.
Who's ready for a new wardrobe?
Cheers!
I've had the same 3 pairs of pants this entire space voyage. Outside of my uniform.
Well, you stop wearing your clothes to sleep and having that weird dream and, rip out of your clothes in the middle of the night, you wouldn't have that issue.
Oh, that's pretty fucked up. I just realized something. If you only have 3 outfits outside of your uniform, one of those is pajamas.
I never take off the 7 or so uniforms I have.
I'll say no, you're wrong. Che just sleeps naked.
Well, we already know that's not true, or else that would have been a fucking nightmare during the Q adventure. All right, so I'll say a few minutes pass by as you guys are just kind of walking through the city. Josh, Ensign Fulmer gets a hold of you,
Okay.
and he he lets you know that the metal is a duranium galvanite composite.
Ooh, uranium. Do you have any potential origins for it?
Um, I know that duranium and galvanite was um, this particular composite, and given the carbon dating, this coincides with what we know of Cation technology.
Well, that pretty much confirms it then.
I mean, unless he hasn't met any of the Faralarr, but the only other species in the area that uses duranium in their hull designs are Cardassians.
And what reason would Cardassians have to leave a bunch of Felinus sapiens on a planet?
Oh, he's not saying that happened. He's just saying that the only species around here that uses uranium in their hull design is Cardassians. So
Of course.
it eliminates everybody that surrounds the Sabine Expanse.
Che kind of sidles over to where Moral. It's okay.
I heard snoring.
I did too. It's okay. Captain Morale,
Frank.
we pretty much have confirmation that these people are, in fact, colonists from Keish. The Farazans that left on the Faralarr. Their oldest buildings are made of a composite that my people used in ship design. Do you believe that might explain the odd behavior up to this point? I mean,
No, but it gives proof to what we would tell them. But also, you have to. I think what we're dealing with is they're coming face to face with a harsh reality that we're not of this world and they're not alone, and so forth.
this is true, and it exposes another mystery as well. As the scan showed, these people aren't modified in any way. One of the big things with the Farazan cast was genetic modification. Why are a bunch of their colonists unmodified?
I think Frank's gonna be out. He's having trouble staying awake.
Okay.
All right, continue as and gather as much information as we can. And let's go find these ministers. I want to find out what in the hell is going on. I don't like being watched, and I don't like being ignored. So at this point, I turn to find type of military guard or something. Do I spot anybody like that?
Give me a insight and security. Nice. Okay, so while you don't see any like outwardly dressed military people, you do notice that there are some plainclothes security officers uh, stealthily uh, following you. It's like when you pass by a booth, they kind of move up to the next booth and start,
Yeah. It's 2x2 pattern or 2x4 or whatever. All right. I stand in front of one of their paths as they try to move and stop them or her.
uh, well, when you stop, they stop.
I move up towards one of them.
You see that they have given the merchant some money, and now they are heading the other way. away from you.
Don't want to play cat and mouse. Okay. It's like I very loudly say to him, "You're very poor at your job as a security officer." And then I start heading back towards the ministry building.
Okay, so the rest of the away team, you guys noticed that Baral walked forward a bit and called out these two Faralarr. And as they walked off, well, okay, you guys essentially just heard the entire exchange. There, that's an easier way of saying it.
Yep.
What are your guys' reaction to this?
Oh, I assumed we were being tailed.
Not
I'm making a verbal observation here. My Hartley's a little confused because they seem to not fully trust us, which, you know, it I can understand that they're just meeting us. They probably don't fully trust us. But if they're going to be like this, why invite us down to our to their home planet?
Because the scientist doesn't know how the politicians are going to react.
True, but would they not invite one up to their ship? Why not have them meet us or have them meet on our ship rather than are they trying to lull us in a false sense of security, or are they just trying to observe how we behave? There's, if any of that makes sense.
if that is the case, I don't know if we're making a good impression.
And then you saw that Baral headed towards the ministry again.
We shouldn't let the captain wander alone.
No, we
Yeah.
should catch up.
Let's go.
So, as you are heading back towards the ministry, Che, your comm badge chirps.
Okay,
It's Lister.
go ahead.
How are things going down there?
Well, the usual first contact suspicions, I would assume.
Suspicions?
Well, we are a foreign presence in their land.
Well, when are we going to be able to beam down so I can get some botanical samples?
I'll put it in a request. Right now, the politicians seem a little cagey. They're letting us wander, but seem to have things to discuss privately.
That's not suspicious.
Like I said, so far it feels all standard.
Very well. I guess I'll just wait to hear back when we can beam down.
You'll be the first to know.
As it should be. List her out. Okay, so babe, you get back to the ministry building. What are you gonna do?
Any of the security like follow or anything like that?
No, but there are 2 guards at the door.
Are they blocking the entrance or preventing me from walking in?
They do tell you as you come up to the ministry door that they're in a private session, so none of them are available.
Really? How long is this private session going to take?
That they don't know.
Does this private session have anything to do with our appearance?
Of course it does.
Never
How
sounds
about
stupid.
this? How about you go in and talk to your ministers and tell them I'm getting impatient?
Minister Kosen called this emergency session.
No. Minister Cosin sit there and grabbed your 2 pilots, ran out of the room very abruptly and rudely, and then called an emergency session. And in the meantime, we were being watched, recorded, followed, rather than just assigning someone to guide us through your city and inform us about your culture, which would have been probably the better way to do it. By the way, your security is too easy to spot. They should be a little bit more subtle.
They weren't trying to be subtle.
They should be. If you follow someone, they shouldn't be seen. You want them to remain invisible. Just a tidbit of advice.
I am sure that the emergency session will come to a close very soon.
How about this? Have him contact me on my ship when he's ready to talk. She taps her comm badge. Roll a Tempest, 4 to beam up.
Okay, you all beam up.
Upon arriving on the ship, she goes to the holodeck and beats the crap out of something in the holodeck.
Awesome.
A horde of Hartleys.
A horde of Hartleys.
No.
Yeah, that's too simple. You know. No, she goes for something a lot more difficult.
A gaggle of Chazines.
A swarm of tribbles.
Yeah, but the Tribbles half love and half hate her, so you know it's kind of a catch-22.
I want to make a tavern, a bar somewhere in this universe called the Confused.
That should be a good bar name, the Confused Tribble. That'd be pretty. But yeah, she goes to the holodeck. She puts in a very difficult fighting program, and she just goes to beat the crap out of something because she's a little bit angry, and this is the only way she can get rid of her frustration.
Okay, so um, I'll say about 4 hours pass, and the Ministry hails the ship or contacts the ship again through radio waves. Lomax just lets you know that the Minister Kosin would like to speak with uh, the away team.
Okay, then.
All right.
Oh, down in sick bay, Nar, you're there with hey you.
Uh huh.
Uh, he's kept aware of what's happening, and he's very fascinated by the Faralarr because he thought he had done enough studying on the Cryon homeworld to be aware of the history of this federation and whatnot. And he has never encountered the reference of Faralarr. So he finds this completely fascinating.
So wait, the colony ship wasn't named the Faralarr?
No, it was.
Hmm.
Uh, Dathan asks, I know, since you love him so much, he asks for a favor.
Perhaps. What is it you want?
Well, since he's never heard of this, if you could find some sort of historical text, he would really like to read it.
I'm certain if you asked Che for one, he would most likely be able to point you in the direction of one. They are his people, essentially.
Very well. And he goes immediately.
Man on a mission.
Che, Dathan, where are you?
Shay right now is have at this point have we all been called to speak with the
Not just yet. This is just before that happens.
Okay. Shay is with Ben Lomax in the mess at the moment.
Okay. You and Lomax are talking about, Lomax is a little bored on the ship. He wants to go on away missions.
I can talk with the captain about that, see if it can be arranged. I think you could be a benefit on this.
I'm sure I could. Um, at that point, Dathan walks up. You see Dathan enter, and he just makes a beeline straight for you. And he goes, Lieutenant Che,
Ah, Dathan. Yes, what can I do for you?
I was wondering if you go back down to the planet. I have never read anything about the Faralarr. If you could get me some sort of historical text, I
Che
would be
gives a
very fascinated to read it.
I'll see what I can do if we go back down to the planet. Um he gives kind of a curious head quirk. So your people are multiversal, yes, and you've never heard of this species.
No.
Does that mean that they are unique, or that your species hasn't perhaps ever encountered this part of the galaxy before?
No, the Cryon have been to the Sabine Expanse in multiple realities, but maybe the Faralar are unique.
Well, I will certainly see what I can do. If a shopping trip is in order, I knew that I saw a few things that I would love to pick up.
Did Che become a billionaire suddenly by replicating nickel coins?
He wouldn't do that. That would wreck the local economy, which would be in violation of the Prime Directive.
Nope, the Prime Directive doesn't apply here
Oh yeah,
because they're not a pre-warp civilization.
right. Okay. Still, it's hardly good form to ruin a planet's economy with replicated money. Just
That is a very
just a
correct thing to do.
just a modest sum for a few souvenirs, nothing more.
Okay. At this point, you are called by Moral to head to Transporter Room 1.
Okay.
Uh, Hartley, what was Hartley doing during all of this?
Honestly, going over security, um, she's she's a little suspicious about them and their motives. To be honest, just because of what was going down on the planet, she's been going over security, making sure everything's in check, and team letting security know just as a safety precaution to stay alert and be ready in case something happens.
Okay. So everyone beams down to the planet, and Miral is escorted alone into the ministry chamber.
Is Moral okay with this?
Well, considering the player is asleep.
Okay. Because even in this situation, out of character, I would still try and go with him, right?
Generally, yes, but it's not like you have a choice here.
Okay.
I mean, you can, but it would be a diplomatic incident.
Yeah, no, I'm not, we're trying not to fight them, so I my character's not happy about it, but yeah, okay.
Okay, so what are you guys doing? Because you guys aren't allowed into the ministry building.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I'm
Actually-
going to
Actually, you know what?
wait for the cat.
Let me rephrase that. They allow Moral and Che into the building.
Okay.
However, Che, you are not taken into the ministry chamber. You have been escorted to another room.
The role player in me wants to ask, am I locked inside the room?
Are you going to check?
Certainly. I checked the door. Well,
Insight and security, please.
Oh, real quick, Jimmy, just so you don't have to worry about going back and forth. I am going to be waiting outside the building for both Che and the captain. And I'm making a suggest to the doctor that just in case of emergency, we need to be close.
so yes, I get 2 successes.
Why, yes, the
Alright,
door
then.
is locked.
Chase sits there like, well, I knew it. I guess Datham is not getting his book after all.
Okay, so I'll say. Oh, go ahead.
Che, depending on how this goes down, on our way of escaping, if it goes bad, you can just steal a book.
I could probably just beam out. I doubt they have a way to prevent that.
Yeah, that's true.
There's not a huge amount of reason to escape when you can teleport.
But keep in mind, we witnessed a planet that could jump from from system to system within certain parameters. I'm not putting anything up past what I see on the surface right now.
Okay, so I'm going to say about a half hour passes. And then, Josh, you see someone who's dressed in robes similar to Minister Kosin walk in. It's really the only time you see red being used in the clothing.
Greetings. I'm
He's followed
going
by like 5 guards.
She blinks several times. What did Merle do this time? Or is this about
go
me?
ahead
What's
and
that?
call the ship. So I was going to go ahead and call the ship and tell them to monitor Che and Merle's life signs and be prepped for emergency beam out just in.
Um, at this point, uh, they or the minister he holds up this book. It's a paper bound book, so or you know, it's a paper book, not a pad or anything. And he says that your commander has been arrested.
Okay, my previous statement, I meant that as a joke. What did my commander do?
Um, hang on, I'm trying to get the wording right.
Heresy.
Well, that is one of the words. Uh, your commander uh, was a oh shit. Why can't I think of words right now?
Because you're tired?
You know what? Fuck it. The charge is heresy.
Your commander is a heretic. A blasphemer.
And then he looks at you and he goes, and you are being placed under arrest.
I'm going to assume under similar charges.
You are an agent of the heresy.
Let me take a wild guess.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and spend the 3 threat to end the scene.
Okay. Shay did have something he was going to say, but I was also thinking on how to word this.
Let me guess. To be continued.
Or yeah, pretty much. Because Frank's asleep. I drank an energy drink, but since I also had my thing going on today, I am still pretty wiped.
It's okay.
So sure.
It was basically him going to just say, like, so let me guess. The old racial tensions have become a religion here.
Oh, this is fun, isn't it?
Indeed.
I mean, considering their technology level, this is an easy resolution. It's like, beam me up. Beam me up. The end.
But remember, Starfleet's diplomatic. They don't do that.
This is true. Also, Che on pretty much in principle would probably be like, no, I'm going to stay and fight. I'm gonna reason these people into the dirt. With both reason and sass.
And I will apologize that. Well, you know what? Actually, I'll talk after the closing credits.
Reason and sass.
Roll credits.
All right, so everybody say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.